We'll be going over IRS Notice CP27. This is the IRS notice that you might receive if you're eligible for an earned income credit that you did not claim on your tax return. So we're going to go through this, and we're going to start with the top right corner, where we'll go through some of the basic information that appears on just about every IRS notice. So at the very top, you see the notice number, CP27, the tax year, which is 2018, notice date, July 1st, 2019, social security number, as well as a contact phone number. So I'm going to point out two things that I always do in these videos. The first thing is you should always take note of the notice date. That can be very important, specifically if there is a timeline associated with your notice. So we'll go through this notice and see if there is a timeline, but a lot of IRS notices may have some sort of requested or required action item, such as please submit supporting documentation within 30 days. If you disagree with this, please contact the IRS within 60 days of this notice. So the notice date is what they're talking about when they're referring to a certain number of days and a timeline from the notice date. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see the taxpayer name and address fields. So I'll point out the second thing, which is you should always make sure that your address is up to date with the Internal Revenue Service. So you can do this by filing your tax return. If you file with a new or updated address, the IRS automatically updates your records. But if you just filed your tax return and then you move, don't wait that entire year before updating your address. You can either call the IRS and validate your identity and then change your address over the phone, or you can file IRS Form 8822, which is the official change of address form. If you're a business owner, then it would be IRS Form 8822-B. That's the business change of address form. So we'll put links in the show notes to articles and videos that we've created about forms that we mention here. Let's take a closer look at what this notice is trying to tell us. So up front, it says you may be eligible for a refund of up to $496. So if there's not any other incentive to pay attention, the fact that you could receive money kind of implies that you might need to take a step or two, take some sort of action to claim that money. So let's go ahead and read on. So our records show that you may be eligible for the Earned Income Credit, or the EIC, but did not claim this on your 2018 tax form. Depending on your earnings and eligibility, your benefit can be up to $496. So this is pretty straightforward. The Earned Income Credit is for certain people who have worked and earned income. So basically, what you would need to do is complete the Earned Income Credit worksheet that the IRS has included on page 3. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So if the worksheet confirms that you're eligible, go ahead and sign it, date it, and mail it to the IRS in the enclosed envelope. If you're not eligible, then you don't need to do anything else. There's a contact information form if you'd like to update the IRS with your new address. Or any other new information, phone numbers. So check the box if you include any correspondence, just so that whoever is processing this form knows whether or not you've included any information with it. So on the next steps, basically, if you're eligible for the credit, the IRS will send a refund check within 4 to 6 weeks. However, if you have back taxes from another tax year or a different type of tax liability, the IRS will scrub your record. And if you owe taxes, say if this was from the 2018 tax year, but you owed taxes in 2017's tax year, then that part or all of that refund can be applied to any other past due tax debt. So when you file your Form 1040 next year, claim the credit if you're eligible. Write no on the EIC line if you don't want the credit or if you don't qualify. You can also write EIC and then ask the IRS to calculate the tax credit for you. There's additional information here. We'll circle back up in just a moment. But the Earned Income Credit Worksheet is this form right here that you would complete. Basically, you're going through all of these different criteria to see whether or not you are eligible. So real quick, if you did not live in, so if you check any of these, then you're not eligible for the tax credit. So the first box, if you lived in the United States or for 6 months or less during the tax year. So U.S. military personnel stationed outside the U.S. are considered to be living in the U.S., but to qualify for the Earned Income Credit, you must have resided in the United States for over half of the year. You also cannot have earned income or excess investment income according to IRS Publication 596, which helps explain the rules around the Earned Income Credit. I can be claimed as a dependent by another person, so to be eligible for the EIC, you cannot be another person cannot claim you, be able to claim you as a dependent. Fourth criteria, your Social Security card has to, so if it reads not valid for employment, then that means that you can't get a job and you only have this Social Security card to receive some sort of federal benefit. You have to be able to work. That's the Earned Income Credit. And finally, the last criteria that would disqualify you is if you are an Earned Income Credit qualifying dependent of another person. So if you meet these criteria, like you're a person's one of these blood relatives, son, daughter, stepchild, grandchild, foster child, brother, sister, half sibling, step sibling, or a child or a descendant of one of those relations. If you were under the age of 19 and younger than that person, or if you were under the age of 24 at the end of the year and a student and younger than that person. If you were permanently and totally disabled, if you lived with that person for more than half of the year, and if you're not filing a joint return, or if you're only filing a joint return to claim a tax refund. So all of these would mean that you are an Earned Income Credit qualifying dependent of another person, and that would disqualify you from claiming the credit yourself. So if you don't have to check any of these, then you can sign and date this stating that you are eligible for the tax credit, and then you would send it in the envelope. Let's go ahead and just check this link right here. The IRS usually tries to post a link to help you understand any additional steps. So there's, additional steps if you lost your return envelope, a couple of other frequently asked questions, and then there's a link to IRS Form 15112, which is Earned Income Credit Worksheet for CP Notice 27, and it basically reads the same thing as what we just found, except it has contact information fields at the very top of the form. So one note that I read into as I was doing research for this, there's another IRS notice, CP09, and another IRS Earned Income Credit Worksheet that goes with that, IRS Form 15111, I believe. And it's very similar to the 15112. I'll actually show it to you. So there's 15112, and this is 15111. From what I understand, the primary difference between these two is that you might receive CP09, if you happen to have a qualifying child. So there's an additional step here under that notice about a qualifying child, whereas the 15112 notice does not have any information about a qualifying child. So that's not information I found on the IRS website. That's something that I found on a third-party website. It is a guess because the IRS doesn't really have a lot of very clear guidance on, when they send these notices out. So I believe that CP27 would go to people that don't have a qualifying child of their own, whereas CP09 would go to someone with one or more qualifying children. So we'll put links to the articles and videos that we've created about those, about CP09, about IRS Form 15111, and the other forms that we mentioned here. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or comments, or if there's another topic that you'd like to see covered in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comment section. Thank you very much and have a great day.